Welcome to Geek on Film with your hosts, Robbie Holmes and John Hosch. Welcome to episode 23 of Geek on Film. This is our year in review, part 1.
Hello, everybody. I love that it's episode 23. We're going into 2023, and we're talking about all our favorite things in 2022. So that's pretty cool.
And that was John, and I'm Robbie. So let's get to it. Let's start talking about some of our favorite things from this year. We have a bunch of categories. We will add all these notes to the podcast catcher of your choice. So pay attention. We'll put all of them in there. And we may even link off to our actual individual lists because John and I. So the plan here is we're going to have a bunch of categories. We're each going to have our own choices for those categories. We may negotiate and fight about them. But in the end, we should have a pretty good list of cool things that we experienced this year. So that's how we're approaching this.
And there might be some overlap. There might be some TV shows or films or actors or actresses that show up multiple times, I'm assuming, on both our individual lists and both our joined list as well. So let's get into it.
Yeah, so I think the premise is going to be that we're going to have all these categories. We're going to try to do 2 to 3, I think, for each of them, for each of us. There's
might be some more. We'll see.
Yeah, there's one category that I'm smuggling a lot. Like I've already told John, I'm sorry. Where favorite scene, we're going to have to figure out a different way to deal with that next year.
Your favorite mule.
Yeah. Our first category is going to be our favorite in-theater experience. So when I'm thinking of this, it's when I think back to the year. I've seen a lot of films. I think I've seen about 300 films right now. So I try to think back to the things
this year.
Yeah,
but not in the theater.
Right. Yeah.
Just in general.
In general. So I try to think back to the things specifically in theaters, and then some of them can be a little more heightened. So my first example was Triangle of Sadness. I saw Triangle of Sadness this year at the Middleburg Film Festival. It was only showing one time. The night before, I got home at like midnight. The showing for Triangle of Sadness was 8:30 in the morning because it's a 2 hour and 27-minute movie. And I got back up at 6 a.m. I talked to my wife till 2, got up at 6, got in the car and drove back out to Middleburg. And literally, I think I said to John, and I've said this to a bunch of people, like we as an audience raucously laughed, and also were disgusted. But we walked out of the theater. No one knew one another. And we were all just like, we just experienced that. Right? That just happened. And I don't know that I've had an experience like that in a very long time. And it was absolutely my favorite. So when I think back to cinema for 2022, I will never not smile thinking of that wacky movie. Do you want to do your first?
Yeah, I for me, it was hard for me to kind of like think back because I think it's been a long year, and a lot of stuff has happened. But again, like I think when I think of like in theater experiences, why do we go to the theater? It's kind of like church in a way for some people. I would say for us. And the easy one that came to mind was Top Gun Maverick. I think when I saw Top Gun Maverick, it was at a time in my life. No, it was at a time I think where I was like I had a little bit of like superhero burnout with all the superhero movies, and then you have this movie that. It's a sequel that took a long time to make, just in general, and then they made it, and then they held back until like we could open up theaters again. It was the absolute right move.
Yep.
The music, the visuals, the acting, the story, the fact that they actually got in jet fighter planes and did all this stuff practical. Was a great experience, and then also seeing it on the big screen and with like the best sound system I could in the area. This movie, like even at the top of the line sound systems, was rattling the bass, which I thought was like super cool and super incredible. And there are parts in this movie I got so wrapped up in it that I was audibly like making sounds
Yeah.
at the screen. So yeah, so that's definitely the one that kind of sticks out to me as a visceral, emotional, uh, exciting response to something that if I had just seen it in the at home, I wouldn't have gotten.
So Top Gun Maverick was my number two also. I think
Nice.
the thing about it that's really fun is my wife will tell you she's not as much of a cinephile, but I did the movie wager for the summer, like a lot of people can. There's the annual movie wager that you can be a part of that the Slash Film crew does. And when I was telling her what my list order was, she was just like, Top Gun Maverick is going to make all the money. And like
Yeah.
without
Oh yeah. And
batting
it
an
did.
eyelash, right? But like it
Yeah.
was so funny because like here she is. I'm paying attention to everything. I'm listening to all these reports about about movies, about financials, and she's just like, everybody's going to see Top Gun Maverick. Everybody's going to want to see it,
Mhm. Yeah.
and it's funny because she like nailed it, like 100%, like picked right off the top the movie that was going to make the most money for the summer, and she kept laughing at me because I like came in. I did pretty well on it, but I think I had Top Gun Maverick at 3, and she's like, nah, like you should have listened to me, like it's number one. But I had the experience of like seeing it with her in the Dolby Cinema, I think it was at AMC, and again like bass rattling the entire
Yeah.
theater. It. We'll talk about this movie, I think, a little bit more in the future in other categories. I think the thing that it did well was like it hit on nostalgia, but didn't live in nostalgia, right? Like
Hmm.
it hit enough of the beats so that way you could be like, it's a thing. But then it went and did its own thing.
Yeah.
I think my joke
Absolutely.
about this movie was like, we have an impossible mission for you to accomplish in the Top Gun universe. If only
Hmm.
we had a Tom Cruise, right? Like it's a Mission Impossible movie wrapped in a Top Gun like blanket, but it's amazing, and the experience in the theater
Hmm.
was unreal. Do
Yeah.
you have a third film that you want to smuggle in here?
I would say honestly, and this is something that came out very recently, but like we both got to see Glass Onion in the theaters, and I will say like the theater experience versus the Netflix release, I experienced both. I enjoyed it at home, but the fact that like you were in a theater
Yeah,
and you're like are you're more focused on everything, it hits you. But like but when you're at home and like your phone is like just a little bit too close and you can pick it up, or like I'm gonna pause it and go to the bathroom, or just like the luxury of being at home and like the ease, I think affects the experience in this movie. It's still enjoyable, but
yeah.
I do think that it was a misstep to not have this in theaters longer, and I think that Ryan Johnson is actually trying to get it back in theaters. I don't
Um,
know if he's got that kind of pull, but who knows?
so I saw Glass Onion at the Middleburg Film Festival, and Ryan Johnson was there, and it was the third day. It was the 8 o'clock movie. So I was a little tired by the time I got there, and this movie was a combination of a kick of adrenaline and then the ability to slowly luxuriate in this movie, which is
Mhm.
it really filled an interesting space for me. But also hearing Ryan, like he received an award that night as like a filmmaker who's been at Middleburg a bunch of times. He's very charming, and knowing he was
Mhm.
there and came out and did a Q&A afterwards, that was before the Saturday night after party, so he was pretty quick with his answers because he was like, I know you all want to get to the drinks, but he was like, he knew the movie he made. He had a lot of fun with it. He had a lot of fun at Middleburg,
Yeah.
so it was a fun experience. My third, my final one for the in theater experience was the Batman. I saw
Mm.
it at the Dolby Cinema. I sat. It was me and I saw it in early in the day. I think I saw it at like a 10 o'clock showing, so it was only about 15 or 20 of us in the theater. And it's a long movie, and I never felt the time. I wanted to
Mm.
spend more time in this Gotham, right? Like, and we'll talk about it more later. But I think this movie, for me, gave me the ability to see like something I loved all the way from childhood, and finding a path to doing it in an adult way. It
Mhm.
doesn't talk down to kids. It doesn't talk down to adults. It has found its story, and it grounds it in Gotham more than it grounds it in almost anything else. Right? Like it is Gotham alive in a way that I don't know that I've seen it done better. and that worked really well on me. The colors, the choices, the score. It really. I came out of the theater and I was like, that is my favorite Batman like experience,
Mm.
and that was pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, like I think that since the movie's come out, all of a sudden now there's like on like social media and stuff, there's like, like it's this trend that's happening in social media where it's like we love it and then we don't like it, and
Yeah,
then everyone doesn't like it, so you have to make a TikTok about it. But I stand true that it's a super solid, really great experience. Uh, I do think that the in theater experience is a little different than the at home experience, especially like with this movie too, where it's like you're almost like you're focused, but you're almost trapped in a movie theater
yeah,
with Batman. But it's like, but you like that.
yeah.
Versus, yeah, like I've started this movie at home on HBO Max a bunch of times, and then like at some point I find myself either like pausing it and like doing something else or something like that. Not like a knock on the movie, but just like the environment in which I'm watching it. Yeah, so as an in theater experience, it was really great.
I think what really helps that movie is the darkness, right? Like
Mm,
the screen is so deep reds, deep blues, right? Like you're so drawn into the screen that if you have any exterior light, I found that like I've watched it, but it has to be
mm,
like at night on my
yeah,
television. Like it really needs the darkness. It really does help.
yeah,
And it sets the stage, right? Like we get to see Bruce, Batman walk out of the darkness for the first time, but it's like this
mhm,
inky blackness, and that inky
yeah,
blackness extends off of the screen, right? Like it's like he's walking into the theater, right? Like it's,
yeah,
and
totally.
I think that had a huge impact on that movie for me, and the in theater experience. I think as dark as you can get it with the best sound. I think
Mhm.
the score, yeah. So like let's jump over to our next category. Favorite TV ensemble. What's your first in this list?
For me, it's we haven't been doing this podcast that long. We're on 23 episodes, so it's interesting because looking back on the entire year, there was stuff that we hadn't even talked about. So
Yeah.
like it was kind of a nice revisit of like trying to visualize the year and see what my favorite stuff is. And something that we haven't I don't think that I ever talked about on the show was the show Severance on Apple TV. I don't know if you watched it.
Yep.
Um but I'm pretty sure we didn't talk about it on the show, but this is a show on Apple TV where it's like a sci-fi show where people have elected to have a work life, and then their like mind is switched over to like their personal life. So they go home and they just like go about their evening normal life, but then when they go to work, they don't remember what they're doing and they don't know what they're doing. It's such a really interesting concept, and um Adam Scott stars in it, and I think it's just a really great ensemble. It's an ensemble show. They're all trying to figure out why, like, what's happening. What do they do here? And it's really interesting because they have to play not only the work version of themselves, but the non-work or the severed version of themselves and the non-severed versions of themselves.
Yep.
John Turturro is really, really great in a role that I think he doesn't normally play. Um, Christopher Walken is in this. Patricia Arquette is in this. John Noble, who I love from like Lord of the Rings, and also that show that was on Fox that was like almost like X Files that I can't remember the name of all of a sudden. Um, but yeah, it's a fantastic ensemble, and I really enjoy this show, and it was one of those ones where I was always excited when a new episode came out. So
So I'm gonna. This is gonna suck a little bit for you because you haven't watched it. But for me, my favorite TV ensemble I think of this entire year was the current season of White Lotus. I think you've got probably some of the most amazing established actors, and then also up and comers that are about to explode.
mhm.
Across the board, you've got Jennifer Coolidge. You've got F. Murray Abraham. You've got so just big names that have been around. Tom Hollander shows up, and he is a heat-seeking missile in the show. I think one of the things I've listened to a lot of podcasts talking about White Lotus, and I don't know if we've talked about it on here, but the idea that like there's maybe a late second act reveal of a new character that just
Mhm.
turns up the temperature in the entire show, and Tom Hollander does that.
Mm.
And he's used to perfection. He is the leader of a group of there's a large group of older gay men, and he seems to be their leader. And boy, he shows up and like and showers praise upon Jennifer Coolidge, and he's in so many amazing scenes with her. And honestly, it makes Jennifer Coolidge's character more important, and also brings out the best. The interactions between her, between Tanya and Quentin, are some of
Mhm.
my favorites, and it honestly really elevates Jennifer Coolidge's performance. And I think that's what I loved about this show, is that like everybody who got to interact with one another really found a way to elevate the other person they were with, right? Like this is a true ensemble. There are like four storylines going on, and the sex workers slash ladies who live in Italy are the sort of connective tissue almost across the four storylines. But like every
I love that.
scene,
Ladies who live in Italy.
well, they are, because they're
Yes, I know,
the
but
native girls who live
right.
there. Uh,
Yes. It's
and
just like it just
one of
sounds like
them
a great
is a
band
sex
name.
worker. The other
Right.
one, maybe not really.
Sure.
But yeah, there's some really amazing aspects to the show that really just kind of blew my mind. And really, everybody hits their character. Every character's well defined. You know who everybody is by the end of the first episode, right? Like for me, an ensemble you have to know the characters in order for it to work. And I
Mhm.
feel like this is one where like Mike White understood the characters he was writing. Sometimes he wrote them for the actors, and that really
Mhm.
helped. And it brings back people like Michael Imperioli, right? Like we're getting a chance to spend time with an actor we haven't seen that much recently, and he
And we
shows up.
saw a lot of back when we were watching The Sopranos, yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, he was so hot at that point, but he's still
Yeah.
like he's been doing so many amazing things between production, between theater stuff.
Mhm.
Like he's it's a testament to Mike White's ability to get people who want to be a part of this, but b the casting and the choice of character actors to play these roles, right?
Yeah.
Like a Haley Lou Richardson plays Portia, who's the assistant to Jennifer Coolidge's Tanya, and she's kind of like a younger version of Jennifer Coolidge,
Mm.
but like a modern version of what that character would be. And
Mhm.
there's just so much perfection in the conversations that happen, and in the comfort. Like when we talked about Avatar, I talked about the fact that like it felt like I watched a film crew like fly to Pandora and shoot the film. I
Mhm.
feel like in White Lotus, we are a fly on the wall at this amazing resort. None of it
Yeah.
feels staged. None of it feels written, right? Like because these characters are so fleshed out, you're like, I know who this person is. This dialogue feels natural. Like the actors are all like zinging against one another. Like it doesn't feel forced. It just feels comfortable.
Mhm.
And I, it's an amazing, it really does show how important a show like this, the casting of the individual actors, but then the actors to inhabit and live in those characters. And
Yeah.
also just super smart, like casting in Aubrey Plaza, casting, the women from Italy, like the actress who plays Mia, the actress, they're all so like they're not archetypal. They're like iconic for the type of character that they're playing.
Mm.
And just I couldn't have been happier watching the show. And I don't like when we talked about it, I don't think it landed. The final act wasn't my favorite, but boy,
Right.
I will not stop smiling when I think about this season of the show. And I love the first season. I just think the second season, the cast was so good, and it stole my
Yeah.
heart.
I have heard nothing but good things about season 2. Also season 1, but yeah. Yeah.
Let's
Um
jump over to your second.
yeah, so my second and final one for my favorite TV ensemble goes to the ensemble of Reboot on Hulu,
Oh, nice.
which is a comedy that we talked about
Yeah.
a bunch of times. This is from the creators of Modern Family. I mean, you've got for anyone who hasn't listened to the previous episodes, please go back and listen to those. But also, Reboot is a show about this like edgy indie director who like pitches a reboot of her favorite 90s half hour comedy like sitcom to a studio, and then they're like, yeah, we're going to bring back the original cast, um, and that person is Rachel Bloom, and the original cast of the show is Keegan Michael Key, Johnny Knoxville, Judy Greer, and then uh, as a grown-up version of the young kid, Callum Worthy. I don't know anything that Callum Worthy has been in prior to Reboot, but he is so funny. And and besides that, you've got Paul Reiser in this, and then you have the writers room filled with like incredible young and older actors. The show is just really fantastic. I was really sad when the season one ended, but excited for season two. Yeah, just a really great ensemble piece, much like Modern Family was. And I don't know, like it's interesting when you're talking when you're dealing with like a show about a show about making a show.
Yeah.
You don't know how long it can go. Like I don't think this will go as long as Modern Family did, but hopefully we get a couple seasons out of it because the ensemble is just incredible. I think the hardest thing will be scheduling to get all these incredible people back, you know, to film season two. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely check it out.
I'm really enjoying it. It's one of those shows that we've started and we have we're excited to finish is the way I would put it.
Mhm.
And honestly, you're spot on. I think it's the ensemble in this show and the ability to like give everybody their moments and all these
Mhm.
actors who are could be leading television shows all sort of ping ponging off of one another at sort of a like a team level, right? Like I don't think there's a single episode that you don't get somebody having like a heat-seeking missile fired off of a character in the background, right? Like the guy
Mhm.
who is the director when Johnny Knoxville goes to him and he tries to make amends, and he freaking destroys Johnny Knoxville. But like that's just an old character actor, and he kind of steals that episode, right? Like I think that's the thing that's amazing about it is sure the cast is unbelievable, but everybody on the show, like all the way every small role is played by somebody who just feels it like again feels very natural, and that
Mhm.
director being the perfect example. Like he's just grumpy, just doing his job, just wants to get stuff done, and Johnny Knoxville's character's driven him crazy back in the old days, so he's like, I don't believe any of the shit you're saying, like
Yeah.
and then he's like, the second time he's like, that's the best acting you've ever done, kid, cut. Like it's so charming and like it really surprised me in how much it moved me. Like the show is so Judy Greer just rocking like
Yeah.
every scene, man. Yeah, it's such a fun show. For
What do
me,
you have
my
out?
my second and final is House of the Dragon.
Mm.
I was so impressed with the ensemble across the board, and also the ability to make multiple ensembles. Right, like they
Yes.
they
Yeah.
they had this idea that they were going to do a big time jump, which meant many of the main characters had to be recast. So if
Mhm.
you haven't watched House of the Dragon, it's the prequel series to Game of Thrones that takes place during what is called in the history book Fire and Ice, Fire and Blood,
Fire and
it,
Ice.
Fire and Ice, the Dance of the Dragons. So what's unbelievable across the board is you've got all these amazing actors coming in who are willing to do sort of again to be a part of this. It almost feels like they opened the casting call and they were like, "Are you an amazing actor that would like to be a part of House of the Dragon?" Like you've got
And have you not been in Game of Thrones yet?
right, yes, and you've never stepped foot on the set.
Yeah.
I mean, the ensemble, including people like Matt Smith and Patty Constantine and Emma Darcy, right? Like going down the list there's just Olivia Cook and Millie Alcock, like so many amazing actors, and Reese Infus. Like there's this is again another show where like it doesn't work without you believing the characters, and the
Mhm.
ensemble is what makes this work, right? Like the moment that you realize like Lord Corliss's character, how he's going to react, right? Like so there's a sequence where his brother gets killed, and when he's told it, for his first reaction is to get his back up, and then when the scene is explained to him, he immediately is like, like he earned it, like that. Damn it, like, and that's just a little scene in the show that reminds me like how important those little the ability to live into these characters are, and I think
Mhm.
there's so many amazing large sequences that were shot where the whole cast is together and in a tight and confined space.
Yeah.
There's a sequence after the eye for the eye speech is given, and it takes place in maybe like 150 square foot like cement box, and there's like 22 actors in that space. The fact that like it's lit by candles, right? Like, but all the actors are like crammed into this little space, and it feels like visceral and dynamic. And but like every character, every choice that's made by the casting director here paid off, right?
Mhm.
Like the choice of going from the actors who are playing the younger versions of the queen and the princess to the older versions, and then the only thing that gets a little chaotic is you only get a little bit of time with some of the with some of them. Like you know, there are three versions of some of the Targaryen kids, and one of them is David Tennant's son, and you get him for one episode, and he's so
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, the cast here is unreal. Like there's no corner you can turn in any frame and not see like amazing actors, even background actors who have one line, right? Like it
Mhm.
again having this shot, all over the
Those are the
place.
people that kill the show if you don't get good people.
Right. Yeah. I mean, what's his name? Edgar Wright talks about the fact that in Shaun of the Dead, there's one zombie in the sequence where they're walking together that is just way too excited to be a zombie. And he's like, I couldn't get it out. It's 150 extras. Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't reset it and do it again. It just cost us too much. But it's funny when you listen to the commentary track. So you're right. Like, that's what
And
makes the
that
show
one
work.
extra is like, "Look at me in this
Yeah.
shot."
Yeah. So that's for me. Hot D was it was a good show, but I think the ensemble is what really made it for me. Paddy
Mhm.
Constantine, if he's not nominated for everything coming up, I would be very surprised. And
Mhm.
Matt Smith, he makes the choice. The joke is like he when he should be talking, he leans. Right, like he
Oh,
is also making like some really interesting choices as an actor. Like he's not
yeah,
trying to steal
totally.
every scene. Like he's an amazing
Yeah.
actor. He's the best thing in Morbius. Like we didn't really even spend any time
Yeah.
talking about that. But like they're all of these actors know how to work together, and also I think the directors did a really great job of taking all this A-list talent and sort of making them a team, right? Like from the very
Mhm.
beginning. And that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
This just feels like a team. A team sport is what these sort of Game of Thronesy type shows should feel like. And this one absolutely did that.
Yeah. So transitioning from favorite TV ensemble to favorite film ensemble, if you don't mind, I'll go first.
Yeah.
I just mentioned this one, but I think the ensemble of Glass Onion is incredible. I think that Glass Onion is it's a mystery about it's a whodunit, and it's like you get everyone in a room and you figure out who done it. You've got Daniel Craig putting on a foghorn leghorn accent and just loving it as Benoit Blanc. And I mean, Edward Norton, Kate Hudson, Janelle Monáe, Catherine Hahn, Dave Bautista, Leslie Odom Jr., Jessica Henwick, Madeline Klein. Um, it's it's incredible. And then you have people like Jackie Hoffman playing Dave Bautista's mom and just like stealing the scenes
Yeah.
where she's in the very, very background
Yeah.
of the shot.
I just
It's just,
rewatched it, and her off camera, it's a Fibonacci sequence. It freaking kills me. It kills me.
yeah. Yeah, I think that this is it's a great ensemble, and kudos to the casting, kudos to everyone for being team players. Everyone just looked like they were having the best time filming this movie. I can't wait for. I need another Benoit Blanc movie in maybe 2.5 years, and I hope they listen to Ryan Johnson and they don't have to put Knives Out in front of all of them. So,
For me, I think my number one ensemble of the year is one I don't think you've gotten to see yet. It's Women Talking.
mm,
So this is one that we can say whether or not the release strategy they're going through is going to hurt the film. I think they made a bad choice. There's an awful lot
mhm,
of space right now for a film like this to counter program against like Avatar: The Way of Water. It
mhm,
should have probably come out at the beginning of December, so it was on people's radar. But the amazing cast includes like 7 or 8 amazing women that spend most of the movie in a barn having a conversation,
mhm,
and it's unreal. It's Rooney Mara. uh, Claire Foy, Jessie Buckley, Frances McDormand, and the lone gentleman who spends time with them, who actually is the sort of he's the secretary. He like records the story. Is Ben Wishaw, and he's so good in this movie. And
Mm.
I haven't hit on every actor who's here, but this is a movie that feels like there is absolutely no ability for me to say anybody is a lead, and it is why the Oscars need a best ensemble film.
Yeah, absolutely.
It absolutely, this is the, if there's ever going to be a movie that screams to the Academy, pretty pleased with Sugar on Top, make an ensemble cast award. This is it, and I feel it really kind of was one of the most amazing experiences I had in the theater, but not like visceral, but like maybe one of my most important films of the year. So that's why
Mm.
it's not of my favorites. And I do think it's, I wish more people could see it. And I think the cast is part of what makes this work. I also think the directing and the choices that are made for this film are fantastic, but it does not work without the amazing women who shoulder the burden of this story.
Mm.
And I highly suggest people spend some time. So for me, Glass Onion was my number two. So what's your number two?
For my number two, is a movie that we both really enjoyed. We talked about it on the podcast. I believe it was a double episode. My second favorite ensemble is the ensemble of The Menu, um, a movie about multiple people from different walks of life, but they're all kind of douchey, kind of like Glass Onion as well,
Yep.
coming to a remote island to take a tasting menu of a renowned chef. Um, you have Ray Fiennes as the chef. You've got Anya Taylor Joy. You've got Nicholas Hoult. Hong Chow is incredible in this. Who else do you have? You've got John Leguizamo. You've got
Judith Light,
Judith Light. Yeah. And
her
then
husband,
like,
that guy. He's a that guy.
oh yeah, Reed Birney.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just and then so you have them, but then you have all the non-speaking actors slash extras who were trained as chefs to make sure everything was all authentic, and it looks it looks like they hired chefs. But I I saw an interview, or I listened to an interview on NPR where they brought in like a world class, like the highest Michelin star ranked chef in America to come and train these extras.
Yep.
And so it's an incredible ensemble. It's a really great movie. I really enjoyed it.
Yep.
This also was a really great experience in the theater for me. I literally, as cliche as it sounds, was on the edge of my seat
Yep.
many times during this. So yeah, The Menu is my second favorite film
Do
ensemble.
you have a third?
I do, but do you?
I do. This is the one that I think is going to make you laugh. So
Okay.
my number three is Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
Oh my
I think
gosh.
this film is
Well, it
amazing.
makes sense though, based on what you've said with your unhealthy relationship with that movie from the get go. From the very get go, you were like, "This is a movie where the ensemble's great." I
Yeah.
remember that from the episode
Yep.
that people can listen to,
I will say this,
where you
like,
talked about it.
I sometimes you have a visceral feeling about a film or a piece of art, and
Mhm.
and it's
That's what
right.
art's supposed to do. Yeah.
And then there are other times where art will stick with you longer than you thought. And Bodies, Bodies, Bodies is one of those films that I kept thinking about. It's music sort of infiltrated sort of Instagram Reels and TikTok, because it is music of today. Its characters are caricatures of the types of characters they play. So there's an awful lot of like mimicry and mockery and adoration of those characters. Rachel Sennette's Alice, it was like an amazing Halloween costume this year. Like, it came up so many times on like random people dressing as her. Like, and yeah, it is a movie that I've not stopped thinking about, and I think it's the cast. I think
Mhm.
there's an amazing. It is an unbelievable big swing by the writer director, and I think when it comes down to it, the casting is what made this movie work. Without all
Mhm.
these amazing young actors, I don't think this movie has any legs. So again, this
Mhm.
is one where like it feels like a team sport, right? Like you get there and you get to the house and there's 7 people in the house or 6 people in the house, and
Mhm.
those 6 people are what tell the story. Like each one of them is you know who they are, you know that they're an asshole, you know why they're an asshole, right? Like that. Lee Pace is inspired casting to play a Gen Xer dating a younger woman. He's so charming, charismatic, and genuinely believable as a know-it-all asshole, but also
Mhm.
like you don't hate him. Like, and I think Pete Davidson playing sort of the annoying, like overthinks everything, right? Like the casting is unbelievable when it comes down to it. Like I'm not a huge, these are not all actors I love, but boy, they were cast perfectly. And I think Rachel Sennett is a freaking star. Like she from the everything I've seen her in, she's amazing. I'm so looking forward to her next movie. I just heard about it today. Apparently, that she is co-writing a film for I think it's two girls start a fight club who happen to be queer and they want to be able to have sex before they leave high school. And like, so this is their way in. Like they're going to
All
start a
right.
fight club, and but like she's co-writing it, she's acting in it. So Maria Baklava, she is definitely unique and different.
Absolutely.
Has an
Yeah.
innocence to her that is surprising.
Mhm.
There isn't an actress here that I don't think was miscast. I think across the board, it's an unbelievable cast, and the movie is stuck with me a lot longer than I want to admit.
You own it and everything.
I
So,
bought it on 4K. I bought it on
yep.
Blu-ray, sent it back, and bought it on 4K because I really wanted the right version. So, yes, this movie sucks, and I like it a lot.
It's an unhealthy relationship that you have.
It really is.
I have my final one. I just want to say that the ensemble of the Woman King is
Yeah.
amazing, led by Viola Davis, who is the driving force in the movie. Um, Never before have I seen in cinema. I could be digging my own grave here, or someone's going to correct me. Hopefully, an ensemble of African American Black women who all get to shine, who all get to be badasses, who all get to be strong, powerful, and not sexualized, and not exotified. And that alone, I think John Boyega gives a great performance in it as well.
Mhm.
Um, it's just a really, really excellent
I think the actress
ensemble.
who plays his wife also, and her like frustration with the general, like there's just
Yeah.
so many like really good small scenes in that
Hmm.
movie. That is the cast, right? Like it's all these
Yeah.
amazing actors getting a chance to shine.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say that really quickly.
Cool. Favorite scenes. So I am smuggling a lot here, but I think we're gonna have some crossover. So let's go pretty quickly. I'm gonna start with I just rewatched Everything Everywhere All at Once. The sequence where Evelyn fights like Waymond through love is
Hmm.
probably my scene of the year. Like it's moving, it's emotional. When she puts the googly eye on her forehead, when you see the rocks like turn around and there's like there's just it sounds silly on paper, but it is moving and powerful, and it's the thesis statement for the movie, right? Like that moment where
Yeah.
she finally sees Wayman for who he is, and that everything he's ever done is for love. Like, and it
Hmm.
sounds silly, but it's what makes that movie work, right? There's so much craziness,
Yeah.
but that scene is like the epitome of that for me.
The fact that you can have an incredibly moving scene with nothing but subtitles
Mm.
and inanimate rocks
Yeah.
goes to show you how incredible that movie is. My first one is any and all fight scenes in Everything Everywhere All at Once.
The fanny
Um,
pack fight sequence is unbelievable. It comes out
the
of
fanny
nowhere,
pack,
right? Like,
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, there's an article that's going around. I don't know where it's from, but and everyone should see this movie even after what I'm about to say. But everyone is like, the butt plug
yeah,
fight scene is the most incredible fight scene in cinema in a long, long time.
it's
So yeah,
unbelievable.
yeah, I wholeheartedly concur with what you're saying about this incredible movie.
So for me, what's your first? Good. Your second.
Well, that was my first. Jumping back to my in theater experience, I mean, the training montage or any of the aerial stuff in Top Gun Maverick is incredible.
Yeah.
That they got it. There's a moment near the end of the movie where they are going to bomb the nondescript enemy's weapons factory, and they show a shot, and you see the river below, and like you see like the snow-capped pine trees on either side of the river, and then these jet fighters just fly really low, and it's such a like breathtaking shot.
Yep.
But yeah, any of that stuff in Top Gun Maverick are incredible. Besides, like, yeah, there's also a human aspect of the movie that I really love as well. But
For me, it's Maverick does the run, right? When he's been fired and he comes back
mm,
and proves he can do it in 2 minutes 30 seconds.
sure, sure,
That it's just there's so much visceral like I can do I am stronger willed than anyone on the planet feels, right?
hmm
Like his listening to him like grunt as he's like taking those turns at speeds he shouldn't be
literally,
taking them. Yeah. Like like he's there's
like that's
constant
not
like
acting.
yeah. It really it adds to the tension when you realize just how much he's putting into that scene. But
Yeah.
watching all the Top Gun kids like reacting, like the moment they
Mm,
recognize that it's him, the moment that he does the first, like there's so many like really great like heart moving moments, like excitement inducing.
yeah.
I'm gonna jump in and say Natu Natu is by far one of the most surprising sequences in any film of the year. So RRR is unbelievable. If you haven't watched it, pretty pleased with Sugar on Top. Go watch it on Netflix. It's unreal. If there ever is going to be a repertory theater showing of it, go see it with a big group of people. But that scene in that movie of the dance off between
hmm
the white folks and the non-white folks, and the fact that they just the dance battle that is Natu Natu is so much freaking fun. Like I don't know that I've
hmm
smiled more at a film than RRR, and that's saying something for this year with films like Everything Everywhere All at Once, right? Like
Right.
it's viscerally moving and kinetic is the way I would put it.
Yeah. Um, my next one, and I feel like that I have four. My first three are like they're like short little moments. They're more like moments than scenes,
Yep.
um, but the fact like you mentioned before, like in the Batman, like that car, when I saw the trailer and that car flies through fire,
Yeah.
it was awesome.
Yep.
And I think yeah, so Batman driving through fire was
Well, I also think it's like the
my next
cinematography,
scene.
right? Like it's not just how cool the car looks. Like that sequence was shot in a way that like shined a spotlight on the visceral like grime of the city, and then like the
Mhm.
kinetic energy of the car and the frenetic energy of the car chase. Like it is exactly what you want from that type of a car chase, and I don't know that anybody's done it better. Like
Yeah.
the cameras being mounted on the hubs, like there's so many cool aspects of what makes that scene work so well.
Yeah, and I think, like the Batmobile has always been a character
Mhm.
in every one of the movies. And in this particular, in the Nolan trilogy, you're like, wow, this guy's got money,
Yeah.
you know? But like this is like very much like street level, young, gritty, dirty Batmobile, and it's awesome.
We can go right past it, but I have to say, like, Elvis becomes a superhero is one of the most unbelievable sequences I've ever seen in a movie.
Mm,
Because you have that crazy voice of Tom Hanks, but he literally says the words like, and in that moment, I saw that skinny boy turn into a superhero, and then you
mm,
feel it watching the faces of the audience and watching Elvis become a different Austin Butler become a different person in that moment from the scared
mm.
boy that he was to the persona that is Elvis is unbelievable. And I just got some
Yeah.
crazy LED lights, UV lights that go around my television screen. So I just was
Mhm.
watching stuff that I knew would be like vibrant and crazy. So I just rewatched the first 10 minutes of Elvis because it's a movie my wife and I both love, at least for
Mm.
those type of moments. And boy, with like the LEDs coming off, like the pink glowing off of his suit onto the wall, like
Sure.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Such a fun moment. Go ahead. What's your next one?
My next and final one, is a more of a smaller cerebral moment, but, it's also it takes place in the menu, and it's, spoiler alert, I guess, for people who haven't seen the menu yet. It's when, Tyler, Nicholas Holt's character, gets gets schooled
Yeah,
in a sense.
it's
Tyler
painful and powerful. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
unbelievable. That scene is great.
Yeah, so Tyler, Nicholas Holt's character is like a sycophant. Is that the right word? I would say
Yeah,
he's a sycophant
yeah,
of the chef, and he'll do any he did anything to get to the island where they're having this menu tasting, and he knows everything before the chef says it. He's a student of being a chef, but he's clearly not a chef.
yep,
And the moment that I'm talking about, it was just because he has a lot of faults, this character,
yep,
that were really frustrating for me. And I think that he is also kind of like the totem for just like a lot of people who think they're know-it-alls. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I think it was so cool to kind of be like, okay, do it. And the chef forces him to make a meal,
yep,
and it goes and the one of the great, framing devices in the movie is for every meal, just like when you watch, a cooking show, they, like, show it, and they give it a title, and they tell you everything that's in it, and they even did this for this, and,
yeah,
yeah, it was just really great. It was a very kind of, like, I don't know, it's kinda cathartic, I guess, like, being an actor, I'm whatever, like, being an actor, like, having to talk about critics and stuff, and sometimes even like when we're on the podcast and like like talking about movies and stuff, like I appreciate that this is more of like a conversational, we try to make this more of a conversational podcast versus like a critique
yep.
podcast. um but man, oh man, it felt good when he got his comeuppance.
So I have three more, but we'll go.
Oh my
I
gosh.
told you I was smuggling a lot here. Alexander Skarsgård became Amalith in the Northman, and I can't get away from the attack sequence where he catches a spear in midair and then uses an axe to climb the side of the wall. It is
Oh
viscerally
yeah.
what I wanted in that movie, I will never forget seeing the first time when the spear gets thrown and he catches it out of the air and turns around and throws it. Like it changed how I thought about that film. It changed my excitement to go see that film. And then, the him climbing when you see it for the first time and he uses just an axe to climb the side of a wall and then jumps over the wall, jumps down and kills somebody in one swing as he lands. It is everything you want in sort of the like action over the top, like human has changed his physical form to play this character. And it's
Hmm.
unbelievably powerful. Um, uh, I'm smuggling two in one. Andor's speeches: Luthen's speech,
Ah.
Kino's speech, Marva's speech. Boy, uh, with good writing, I think that is my television show of the year. And it's those speeches that really land the entire show and why it works. Luthen's ability to
Hmm.
say that he's not going to be around to see the world that he's lit the spark for. Kino trying to convince people to leave and stand on their own when he knows he can't swim, right? When you have even more. And then Marva, right? Like admitting she should have been stronger. And if she could do it differently, she would have gotten up every day and started the rebellion. Like, unbelievable. And my last one, I just rewatched Triangle of Sadness last night with friends. The captain's dinner sequence in Triangle of Sadness is probably the scene of the year for. I'm never gonna forget it. It's this slow descent into madness, right? Like Woody Harrelson's captain is he's basically been non-existent up till that moment. You get to the point where the ship is starting to teeter. There's a big storm happening, and it's the chef's dinner, so it's like a 7-course meal, and it opens with silly shit like there's a woman who tells him he needs to wash the sails. It's an electric yacht. There's no sails. Just the silly shit that goes on, and then watching the camera angles, right? Like where you can feel the whole yacht, where like Woody Harrelson is standing at an angle that's like maybe 20 degrees. And greeting people is unbelievable. And then slowly, like the bottle rolling across the floor and the whole boat, like it's. And then from there, the crazy, people getting seasick, and the person has it's so kinetic and frenetic and crazy. And I don't know that anything else captured that for me this year. It's a funny and farcical sequence, but boy, it is impactful and steals the whole center of the movie. Like it's about 12 minutes long, but boy, it feels like it's about an hour, right? And in the best way possible.
Yeah, man, this movie has been on my radar since I saw the trailer, and I haven't yet been able to see it, but apparently in the States it's going to come to streaming very soon. So
I think it's going to be on Hulu in January. It's currently available for purchase on all the major streaming services. I think its rental is only like $3.99, and the purchase is like $14.99. Yeah. It was really fun. Rewatching it at home was a blast.
I love listening to overseas podcasts, because like Disney Plus in America is very guarded.
Yeah.
But Disney Plus in other countries is like they've just combined Hulu and Disney Plus to Disney Plus. So like the idea that someone watched Prey on Disney Plus is just kind of laughable to me because I think that Disney is a little more guarded here in the States than it is in other countries.
Let's jump into visual effects.
Do you have anything else?
Nope, that's it. Okay. That's it. I'm tapped out.
I have 3 for visual effects, and they're probably no-brainers.
Yep.
Also based on some of the stuff that I've already said.
Yep.
But I will start off. I'll start off by saying I feel like it's really hard to like top Avatar: The Way of Water as far as visual effects goes.
Yep.
The first Avatar I think was like 46% all CGI, and this one I think is like 68% all CGI, and then who knows how far. I remember when we were talking, when we discussed it on the podcast, I'm still not sure if Spider is CGI or not, and I'm gonna go back and see the movie again.
Yep.
And I'm gonna look for that to see if I can find any like, I don't know, something or other. But again, it's really hard to find kind of like mess ups, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it's all just like all overwhelming. I just recently watched because I want to take my wife to see the movie, and she wanted to watch the first Avatar before, because it's been a while.
Yeah.
So we just recently watched it, and remembering what I saw in Way of Water, the technology has come like incredibly far, even between like Avatar. I think we talked about this, but like Avatar, the Na'vi look great in the first movie.
Yep.
They look incredible in the second movie. Avatar: The Way of the Water is my first one. What is your first one? Or did you also have Avatar?
No, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Given the fact that the movie was shot and it had a small effects team of people who mostly figured it out as they were going along, the fact that they were able to pull off a movie that feels as epic in scope, and a lot of it has to do with the actual effects that are happening. The fact that
Mhm.
they were smart, the directors were smart enough to like capture Michelle Yeoh in every single costume that she's going to be in and throughout the movie, and just shoot like
Mhm.
10 seconds of her saying one line, 10 seconds of her saying another one, 10 seconds. They spent a minute probably in at the end of every scene where they would put her in a place to say something, to do something, to point, because they knew they might need that later for a montage. Like they didn't go
Mhm.
back and shoot the montage. They shot all those, like, so it's a combination of like smart staging, amazing use of footage, and also figuring out like the everything
Mhm.
bagel looks. I just watched it this week on 4K. Looks so friggin' good. Like you can
Mhm.
see thousands of particles that are being sucked into it. Um, it's unreal. Yeah. So for me, it really was one of those things that surprised me revisiting the movie, just how much that makes the movie feel fantastical and also
Mhm.
lands the story for me.
Um, Second for me, like I talked about before. I mean, we don't have to talk too much about it anymore. But I think that the visual effects in Top Gun Maverick are incredible.
Yep.
The fact that, I mean, obviously these actors didn't fly these jet fighters on their own. So in those shots, or just outside those shots, there are actual pilots. So they had to like figure out how to like not shoot the pilots and make it look like, the actor is flying it.
Yep.
Um, and the fact that like they had to go up in these planes and like be like, okay, this is what the scene is.
Yeah.
Go film it. I trust you.
Yep.
Do it a couple times and then land, and we'll review the tape. And then, it's like,
Well, and it would be like they got 30 seconds of footage, and it would be like, next time we go up there, we need to do this because that doesn't look right. Right. And they would
mhm,
try it again. Right. And
yeah.
they can only do like three a day. Like, unbelievable. For me, I'm going to smuggle one in here. I was thinking about it when you were talking about Avatar. I'm going to bring up Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. The fact that every single scene it has green screen components because they are using arms to move and to hold the puppets in place. In my opinion, ups the quality of the film. The Every frame of that film has been digitally retouched and made to look better. And that is a big. It's not what people often think about when it comes to visual effects, but every frame of that movie has been made to feel alive with digital effects.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the whole yeah, it's like with stop motion, it's like, yeah, that's like like take a picture, move it, take a picture, move it, take a picture.
Yep.
Yeah, and they always have to have like armatures, like for like if the character is not making contact with the ground,
Yep.
obviously there has to be like an armature to like hold that person in space. So yeah, they like that's like the beauty of stop motion animation is what they can get away with in shot, and a lot of times with angles and stuff you don't have to see the armatures, but a lot of times nowadays, like with the power of digital and stuff, you just make it all green and then
Yep.
you can get it out later.
Do you have another one?
Yeah. For me, this is my final one for visual effects. It's just like the insanity that is RRR. Um, is words can't really describe. You have so many. Like, where do you start? Like, they fight CGI animals that look really, really great,
Yep.
and like literally, like we're talking like fist fight animals to like insane crowd scenes where like you think it's digital and probably it's actually just all like actual extras, and then they composited, like they doubled it, tripled it, quadrupled it. um and yeah, there's it's just like, like we've raved about the movie quite a bit, but this is something pretty special that's coming out of Southeast Asia. Yes, Southeast Asia, I believe. And yeah, definitely check it out.
Yeah. So my third one is actually sort of a bleed into the next category, which is production design. I'm going to shout out the Batman one more time. I think the effects of that movie, the believability of the way that Gotham is made, is a combination of
Mhm.
visual effects and production design.
Mm.
It is seriously the movie that I think set the bar for me this year. I saw Everything Everywhere All at Once, and then I saw the Batman, and I was like, I don't know how much better this year can get. Like,
Mm.
they're two very different movies, but they're epic in different ways. And I feel like the effects in Batman, uh, from the really grounded use of the Batmobile to the effects of like the that everything feels wet and grimy. Like I don't know that everything was glistening, right? Like the fact that they chose to shoot the film on actual film stock and then run it through and digitize it to add some like wear and then back out to a 4K release. Like there's so many choices that are made that make this movie feel well thought out and gorgeous. And I think it's almost the subtlety of those that you don't, because you don't recognize there's a ton of effects happening, that is what really works, like the practicality of some of the things that, like what the size of the contact lenses that he puts in, like how
Mhm.
destroyed his eyes look from wearing them, right? Like there's so many little
Mhm.
moments that make the movie feel real that can't possibly have happened. And I think that's what makes it work.
Right. Yeah. So yeah. So wait, so that's bleeding and you had
for
that
for
in
me
visual
it's a
effects?
smuggle into production design because I think it really is part of what made that work. So what's your first
Gotcha.
film on the production side?
Uh, my first one is, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
Hmm.
I think that, uh, you not only had, like, the incredible world of Wakanda being recreated again, for the sequel, but then you have Talokan, and it was all engrossing, I would say. It was
Yep.
really incredible. Um, so yeah, that's my first one. How many? And
I have
I
three.
just have one more after this.
I have
Okay,
three.
cool.
For me, the first one is Don't Worry, Darling. The movie did not work for me, but boy, the production design was one of the most amazing worlds I've ever seen created.
Mm,
The mid-century modern feel of the first 15 minutes of that movie is American nostalgia. It's and casting Florence Pugh, who feels almost a little bit at odds with that world, I think is also part of it, right? Like I think
mhm,
the everybody else feels like they belong there. She feels a little bit out of place. I think that's on purpose, right? Like I think there's some aspects of this we have to give some great nods to, but boy, the cars and the homes and the costumes, like across the board, I think the production design on this movie was unbelievable. And I think what's interesting is like we're doing almost all favorite, right, as our category titles, but there's a category I've often talked about, which is like worst use of a great cast, and this movie and a couple of others this year would probably fall into that, right? Like this movie had so much potential, but the production design friggin' works. It's
mhm.
gorgeous, and that's why I've watched it again. Not because I like the movie, because I wanted to revisit the first 15 or 20 minutes of the movie's production design.
Mm, yeah, I would agree. Like, I think that was the strongest aspect of the movie.
Yep. What's your number
Um,
two?
a movie that everyone and especially us are talking about a lot is, Everything Everywhere All at Once. I
Yep.
mean, how many worlds, how many costumes, how many times, like, the jumps in time as well, did they have to create?
Yep.
It was just, yeah, it's an incredible feat, and especially for something that wasn't a big budget movie.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
I'm going to jump back to the menu. I think this movie's production design is perfect. The world, this story doesn't work unless everything's precise, and there is
Hmm.
a precision in that world. There is a crystal clear feeling of the world you're in, from the moment you get off the boat to the moment you get to the actual the dining room. You know that. island, right? Like you can,
Mhm.
the feeling it's creating, you know the experience they're about to have, and that is all production design. Also, the fact that they shot the film very much like it was a play. There's almost no coverage, so every actor is doing what they're doing, and they are shooting it like it's a play. And
Mhm.
that really, I think, played into the production design because you have the 12 cooks in the kitchen cooking, and they just may be on camera. Like
Mhm.
that adds to the visceral reality of that world.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone was always on,
Yeah.
so very cool. Do you have any more?
I have one more.
Yeah, yeah. Hit me with it.
Triangle of Sadness. I rewatched it
Mm.
last night. I don't know that there's the director makes choices with the camera that are extremely important to the world building, but it's production design. It's every aspect of the movie, from the yacht to the restaurant where they have the big fight at the beginning. There's so many little moments. There's a really great thing, and I know you haven't seen it yet, John, but he uses sound as
Mm.
part of the production design, in my opinion. You know that the boat is rocking because you can hear glasses tinking off one another without you even seeing the boat move. There's little things like they're on the yacht and they're sunbathing and they're having a bickering fight, and there's the sound of a fly going around the camera. Like, so they're buzzing at one another, and he's using oral things to trigger you into the production. Like the chaos of the captain scene, there's a baby crying in the background. So there's always this like combination of sound and visuals and camera choice and angles that really makes it all work. The opening of the film is conversations with all these male models, and it's shot through a camera, or is made to look like it's shot through like a VHS camera. So there's like
Mhm.
a heads up display, and that works, right? Here you are with all these beautiful men, and it's shot and made to look like it's on video and being interviewed in the moment, right? Um,
Mhm.
yeah, it's there's the actors, all the models are being interviewed, and there's a black and white dog that's just off camera to the right, and we're not sure why, but like it adds this like visual component to the background, and it's just out of focus where like this gorgeous model is in focus, and there's just so many little elements that I think are well thought out and make the movie feel hyper realistic. Is the way I
Mhm.
would put it.
Very cool. Yeah, I again, like I can't wait to see it. So,
So
uh,
let's go to your favorite score.
music. I love music. Um, uh, this was a nicely packed category for me. Just really quickly, Nathan Johnson's score to Glass Onion helps you kind of with the sweeping exotic grandeur and excess of like your own being on your own, being swept away to your own Greek island.
Yep.
Um, and it just kind of also gives you a bit of a timeless feel to to the movie. So I really enjoyed that.
I have two here. So my first is the Batman. I think this is
Hmm.
the biggest snub so far of the year for the Academy Awards. It is not on the short list,
Hmm.
and that blew my mind because without Michael Giacchino's score, this movie doesn't work.
Oh, sure.
It sets the tone. It brings you in and brings you through the film. Right, there's a lot of other music, there's a lot of other sound, but it is this like extremely grounded, almost like like an organ feel, like the
Yes. Like
somber
a dirge
emo,
almost.
yeah, of
Yeah.
the whole film. That without it, it doesn't work. And I think it makes me really sad that it's not even going to make its way to the Oscars. I think that this is one
Mm,
that will definitely get nominated by the sound guilds. There's no way it doesn't. But I think
mm,
it's a surprise to me.
yeah. Next one for me is Alexandre Desplat's. Forgive me if I butchered your last name, but his score to Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio is so charming, and it's just It is a character in itself, and it's just wonderful and joyous and fairy tale like.
Yeah,
It is so indicative of um, the world that Guillermo del Toro has created for his version of Pinocchio. It's really really great.
it is. I heard somebody talking about it recently, and it's like they joked that Guillermo took the book Pinocchio, took the scenes he wanted, and then wrote the movie he wanted to make. And I think
Yeah, it makes
that's
sense.
it's really it's an adaptation in the loosest sense of the word. You know some of the tropes, but boy, that score is haunting and sad, and sometimes visceral, and sometimes like it's unreal. My second and final one is a new one, but not a big surprise to people who've listened to me talk about anything. Justin Hurwitz's score for Babylon. It opens the movie. It drives all the
Yeah,
way through for 3 hours and 7 minutes. And the
yeah.
movie, you get another dose of it at the end. You get this
Hmm.
like it is. You can say what you want about the film. It is supposed to be about excess. It's supposed to be about and the score feels like you're vibrating from the moment it starts, and that rules. I loved La La
Yeah,
Land
sure.
score, but like this score is, it's almost like if you needed a hype score, this is it, right? Whereas like the Batman score is like, I'm gonna be sad for a while. This is just like I need to be ramped up for the
Well,
next
it's a
3 hours.
it's like a cocaine induced punch in the face,
Yeah,
a constant punch in the face,
it
like
is.
rabbit punches to the face. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got two more.
Okay.
Man, oh man, really quick. It's like the movie hasn't even started yet, and when you hear the the opening theme to Top Gun, I know I've talked about this movie in
Yeah.
almost every category, but like w- it's I mean, it's an adrenaline shot right to your heart,
Yep.
and it's really incredible. And I just wanted to say that really quickly. Don't have to talk about too much, but I had that theme song on heavy rotation after I had seen that movie.
Yep.
And actually, like I mean, the movie is the number one grossing movie of 2022, and I saw it 3 times, I think. So
Yeah. I
there
saw
you
it
go.
twice in the theater and bought the Steelbook 4K
Yeah.
before I even saw the film.
And then the right at the last moment of 2022, Netflix releases Roald Dahl's Matilda the musical, um, by music by and lyrics by Tim Minchin and Christopher Nightingale. Have you seen? Did you get to check this out?
No.
Uh, it's amazing. Um,
Maybe we can
Tim
hold it and
Minchin,
do a full review next week. We're not sure
yeah,
what we're doing yet. So
I'd love
think
to.
about
Yeah,
holding back a little bit on maybe that, but like let's talk about the score.
yeah. I mean, I just want to mostly just talk about the music. I mean, this is based off of the stage musical, which is based off of uh, a book, which also had a movie, I think in like the '90s or something like that. But the music is fantastic. The songs are incredible. Tim Minchin's writing is like nothing else in musical theater, in my opinion.
Hmm.
Um, the way he uses words and rhythms is really incredible. And I'm not one for quote unquote kid musicals. Like I don't really like Oliver.
Hmm.
Like whenever there's like a big kid cast, I'm like, oh god, kids.
Just remember
Uh,
at John Hosh on Twitter when you're mad at him. Go
I
for
don't think we have a big musical theater contingent listening to us,
it.
but hey, I mean, this is coming from the guy who just had one of the best experiences doing a show recently, where the lead is a child, and he was fantastic. Anyway, yeah, not a fan of whatever, not a fan of Oliver. That's hashtag not Oliver. Um, but this was incredible, and the music is incredible.
Is that it for your scores?
That is it for my scores. What do you have for sound effects?
So
Best favorite sound
favorite sound
effects?
effects, Everything Everywhere All at Once is in this category for me. I'm going to do it first. I don't think this movie works well without the ability to capture and make real things that are not real, like the
Hmm.
jumping, the sound of like when they do the thing that triggers the jump, and you hear and see the green light come on, and then the jump happen.
Hmm.
It's such a great use, and then the small moments, the moments where you see Michelle Yeoh and you see Waymond and Evelyn in this sort of Wong Kar Wai movie, and the rain happening, and like you hear a car drive through a puddle, like the sadness and melancholy that all carries. It's unreal how well that movie comes together for all the crafts. To be honest,
Hmm. Yeah. Um,
I only have
I,
two in
I
this category, so
I do too, and I'm just gonna I'm gonna knock them out all at once, if you don't
yep,
mind, because I don't think much more needs to be said about Top Gun Maverick.
yep,
But I mean, the sound is incredible. Obviously, in the theater, it rattled your soul.
yeah.
But I honestly want to give a shout out to Idris Alba's movie Beast. Um, I mean, someone's got to talk about the movie,
Yeah.
but uh, you know, the the sound was really important because you're dealing with rogue lions in the savannah who are hunting you, and they're attacking you, and the sound is very helpful in creating suspense, but also creating jump scares,
Yeah.
huge scares. Um, so yeah, shout out to Beast. I really enjoyed that movie this year.
For me, I'm also going to bring up a movie we haven't talked about yet, and it's Nope. The
Hmm.
sound effects in Nope are what make that movie work. Sure, the cinematography is gorgeous, sure, but the moment you realize the sound you're hearing is a horse that's been picked up and is swirling around, and then just every other aspect, the hitting of the coins, the opening 10 minutes, like the sound of this movie, the sequences with Gordy, like sound is what makes all this work,
Hmm.
and lands the impact. I think Jordan Peele is a visionary, but I think what he's also really good at is hiring really good heads of his crafts, and then getting out of them what he wants. This movie absolutely positively uses sound in some of the most unique ways. From hearing like the horse run away at the beginning to Kiki Palmer's character playing records in the house, and you can hear it from you know half a mile away where her brother is about to go chase the horse, right? Like there's so much of the sound is what makes it work, and some of it's diegetic and in the movie, and some of it's not, and it's unbelievable how well that is all handled. And I think Nope was I don't know that it was in my top 10 movies of the year, but boy, it's a movie I have not stopped thinking about. And
Mm.
I do really want to revisit it now that I've been away from it for a while. I think it's time for me to go back. This is another one that I
Now,
like ordered as a Steelbook 4K, canceled it because I wasn't sure I wanted it. And then I finally bought it because I was like, this is dumb. Like, I really want to rewatch the movie. I might as well get it in the best possible format, you know?
sure, yeah. Because if you just want to watch it, it is available for streaming on Peacock
It
if you have
is. Yep.
Peacock. Yep.
Let's jump to favorite Legacyquel. I think we probably both have the same one here. Would be my guess. Where
I don't
where are you heading,
know.
my friend?
No, no, no. I think you should go first.
Top Gun Maverick. I think this movie did exactly what we wanted out of it. It's enough nostalgia to bring us along as the original viewers of Top Gun, and to it wasn't reliant on the history. It explained enough for people who had never
Hmm.
seen it, and it's a good movie. Like it's not just
Yeah.
that it's based on previous IP. It's not just it is it fulfills the need of an action film, whether or not you know that it's based on previous IP. And it's
Hmm.
clever in its actual delivery of some of the IP, right? And I
Hmm.
think that's what works here for me. Like if we were having our least favorite, it would probably be Jurassic World Dominion, right? Like because it uses nostalgia in some of the worst ways.
Sure.
So that's that
And
as
no
a
one in that
comparison.
movie died. They had to kill off at least four of those people
There was way too
in
many people in that movie.
yeah.
But yeah, so for me, it's
Um,
Top Gun Maverick. I have nothing else in this category. It was the definition of Legacy sequel to me.
my favorite Lego sequel of 2022, my friend, could have been Top Gun, but I've also been giving that movie
Too much.
Besides my money, you know, enough love. I've been giving it some good loving.
Oh,
So I thought I would. I thought I thought long and I thought hard, and I was like, "What is it? What really would be the best Legacyquel of 2022
oh God,
for
no,
me?"
no! Don't say Halloween, you jerk.
No, even better, my friend.
Oh no,
Jackass Forever is my favorite Legacyquel of 2022.
I've heard nothing but amazing things about it.
I'm going to give a little bit of love to the Jackass world. You know, I think that people think they're idiots. Maybe they are. Are they physical comedians to me? Yes, indeed. Will they do things that I would never do? Absolutely. But also, you see the passion, the insane passion they have for what they're doing. And I thought it was really great that they were like, we're getting old. And they flat out talk about it in the movie. They're like, I'm too old for that. So we're going to make the new guys do it. And I'm very happy that the new influx of jackasses are a little more diverse on all levels, from gender, sexual orientation, ethnicities and all. So kudos to Jackass. I hope we get more.
So we are currently at 1 hour and 20 minutes. I think I'm going to call an audible, and we're going to end part 1 of the favorites right now, and we're going to jump into another episode. So thank you so much for listening up to this point. Pay attention to your podcast player, and you'll be a part 2 coming for you very shortly. This has been a Geek on Film podcast. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.